Thank you for joining us for another installment of Dallas Housing Coalition's webinar, Housing for All, where we discuss whether Dallas is big and if it is truly big enough for everyone. I'm your host, Andrea Gillespie. I also sit on the board of directors for the Dallas Housing Coalition and am also the senior manager of community development at Charles Schwab Bank. In each episode of our Housing for All webinar series, we have brief but impactful one-on-one conversations with members of the Dallas Housing Coalition and other community leaders who are Dallas's strongest advocates for keeping the city affordable. Today, I'm so happy to have Nicole Raphiel joining us. Nicole serves as a community development manager at the St. Philip's School and Community Center. St. Philip's is a school and nonprofit organization in South Dallas, a neighborhood in the city of Dallas, dedicated to creating a diverse and dynamic community where all residents can live equitably. With numerous initiatives in place in and outside the classroom, St. Philip's works diligently to support its students and families, including revitalizing the school's surrounding community. Nicole holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Texas at Dallas, and since 2008 has served as an elected member of DeSoto's City Council. Thank you so much for joining me, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
Well, great. Well, we can just dive right in into the conversation. And my first question for you, hopefully, is an easy one. But I'm wondering if you can share, as the community development manager at St. Philip's, what initially motivated St. Philip's to begin spearheading community development initiatives? And how is the organization approaching residential and community development in the neighborhood of South Dallas today?
Sure thing. St. Philip's has been in this community for over 70 years. And so it has gone through iterations of starting out as a church, then a community center, and then a school and community center. And so as St. Philip's has progressed, there's been a deep desire to ensure that the community progresses as well. When St. Philip's started building new additions to what we now know as the full campus of St. Philip's, what was also seen was that the community wasn't being elevated. St. Philip's has been a part of bringing housing to the community through Habitat for Humanity. In fact, one of the first Habitat for Humanity homes with brick is in our community, just blocks away from here. St. Philip's has been a part of bringing housing to our seniors. So there's a senior community that's about 70 homes, duplexes, where seniors live in the community. St. Philip's doesn't manage it anymore, but St. Philip's was the spearhead of it. And so where we are today is continuing the housing continuum, ensuring that the community members who are here in their homes have dignified housing, along with ensuring that our community, with the addition of bringing on lots and filling those lots with homes, making certain that we are not a part of anything that could displace our community. And so it's been really important for St. Philip's to ensure that we take advantage of some of the tools that the city has to offer. One of those tools is the neighborhood empowerment zone. Another one of those tools is the home repair program, as well as raising philanthropic dollars for home repairs for our residents who are already here. This year, we'll be building 7 new homes, or 6.5 homes. One of those homes will have we'll call it a proof of concept with an accessory dwelling unit or a granny flat and back. And that home will be for the family who decides that, they may decide they want to rent it out. And that will be a wealth creator for that particular family. And so with that, St. Philip's thinks it's really important that we not just take care of the student inside with education, but we take care of the whole family, the whole people, the whole community. And let me add that today is field day. So if you hear any unusual noises, just know our kids are having fun here.
I know Field Day very well. Somehow every year I'm a volunteer. So at my son's school. Yeah, I want to, before we move on the conversation, you brought up a term that we probably haven't talked enough about during our Housing for All webinars, and that's the issue of displacement. And for those of us who are knee deep in community development, we know that tension between revitalization and resident displacement. Can you talk a little bit about what that might look like and what resident displacement actually is in the context of revitalization if it's not done equitably?
Oh gosh, yes. I like to start with an example of it. A prime example of it is West Dallas. And so if you know the Trinity Groves area, then you've seen displacement happen. West Dallas was home to part of my family, had homes there. Friends who lived there and people just knowing people who lived there at the time where things were very affordable and now things are not. And it's really interesting when you see a $600,000 home right next to a $30,000 home. And then the natural thing that happens is that property taxes go up, and then that family has to move because they can no longer afford the property taxes. In our community a few years ago, our zip code 75215 had a property tax increase of 121%, which was the largest in the state of Texas. That's not sustainable. And so with that, it's been important for us to advocate for tools to be a part of the neighborhood empowerment zone. One of the tools inside of it is what they call a residential tax abatement. If that homeowner, if that homeowner invests $5,000 into their home, then the city of Dallas will give them a 1-year tax abatement up to 10 years that they would have to apply for each year. Now that tool isn't working quite as it should, and the city of Dallas is right now working on that tool to make it usable for our community. But because of the tool, what we decided to do was to raise funds to ensure that our community members would have housing and that they wouldn't be in situations where um, actually to protect them, to use that particular tool to protect them. Now, one of the things that has happened here in our community is you see investors who come into our community and they're trying to buy people houses. We're actively talking to our neighbors, letting them know, what their houses are worth, not to sell your house for 10 cents. Um, Having that investment in their home, making their home dignified, helps people stay in their homes. And why is that important? Because when the home is really dilapidated, I've seen it time and time again where someone will swoop in, offer $10,000 or $30,000 for a house, and you can live nowhere else in the world. But you're doing it because there's a hole in the roof. And so making certain that we're addressing every element because we know we're building houses. And if we build a house, we don't want to negatively affect our neighbors. If our neighbors decide that they want to sell their homes, that's their perfect right. But ensuring that we help take care of them while they live in their homes, and then if their property values, if they decide to, let me say it this way, if they decide to sell their homes because of the investment we gave, they didn't get money. That still helps them. That still benefits them, and we're okay with that. But displacement is very real, and we're working really hard to mitigate it. And we're appreciative of the city of Dallas in their programming, but we're also appreciative of other foundations and other entities that give money towards home repairs for our community. Home preservation is just as important as building affordable homes in our community to address that displacement.
Wow, thank you for such a comprehensive download on
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
tension between resident displacement. I mean, no, that was great. I can't think of a better way of talking through people who may not understand it as well as you and I both do about how that may look. So it sounds like from St. Philip's perspective and its approach to community development, it's multifold. You're purchasing lots with the intention of building affordable housing. You're educating homeowners in the community about um, just how to deal with speculators or developers who want to come in and maybe undercut what their home is worth. And then also just providing tools to residents that want to stay and need to preserve sometimes their greatest asset
Mhm.
through public and private home repair programs. Are there any other concrete projects that y'all are taking on that maybe you haven't already mentioned that you wanted to share?
Sure thing. One of the things we are in concept right now, as well as fundraising for, would be multifamily in our community. That's a
Mhm.
very important part of it. We did go through an equitable development process that incorporated us working with our community. It was sponsored by JP Morgan Chase as well as administered through the Real Estate Council. And so with that, community members noted like what they wanted the community to look like, including, the houses. And so we've been very respectful in how we've designed the houses, that it does fit the community, so that there's a community belonging that continues to stay in our area. But also multifamily is very important as well. And so we've even been sensitive as to what that possibly may look like. And so we're in the incubation stages of what that is, including doing the fundraising and doing the research and into the various tools that are available, whether it's through a bank or through the PFC, and through the city as well.
That's great. And actually, that is a great segue into my next question. And that truly is so much of doing equitable community development is about really leaning into the needs, aspirations, and perspectives of the local residents that hopefully will bear the benefit of equitable development. And I just wanted to hear more about, you kind of touched on this in my last question, about how you solicit feedback from the residents of South Dallas, and incorporate their lived experiences in your overall community development efforts.
Sure thing. Feedback is very important. That's how we know we're doing a good job or how we need to improve. And so having the monthly community meetings has been very important. And so we lead those, but we're also encouraging our residents as well to take on that leadership role as well. So we're trying to help build them up, but as well as give them incredible information as to what's happening in our community and listening to their feedback. We just had a meeting last night and our residents gave us a lot of healthy feedback, and we're always appreciative of what that is. But the proof and concept in terms of like what does it look like to get the feedback and then to act on it, would be talking to our members and saying, hey, what is it that you want to see, here in this spot? We've been fortunate to raise funds through private donations as well as through foundation funds and through the city, to rehab some commercial spaces. One of those commercial spaces that's been recently rehabbed and is going through the process of completion right now, and we're hoping to open it in another month. We call it the Hub. The Hub is 100% a community, its inception is a part of community feedback, meaning community members want to have services near them. A lot of times we see people may be a little trepidatious of coming to the school for some of those services, as well as just because we have so much programming here on campus, we need the space. And so we've white boxed the space that will be that type of community facing or forward facing building that other nonprofits can come and use. Entrepreneurs with pop-up businesses can come and use, because we see that as well. And we hear from our residents as well. We hear feedback all the time in terms of like, hey, this is what I can do. How can I help? Or this is what I would like to see, or this is what had been done in our community in the past. Can we do that again? And so this space will be that type of space that the community, that others can come who want to serve our community and for community members to be a part of it. And so feedback is very important. The feedback that we received in terms of community ownership has led us to look into what it looks like to have a community investment trust in our community. And a community investment trust is a tool that will allow community members to pay money into, receive their shares, and actually own a property. And so we are at the beginning stages of modeling one of the commercial properties that we own for that purpose, where it will be entered into this community investment trust, where there will be board members that would include the community, where community members who are only in this zip code or only in the certain zip codes that we specify can buy into with as little as $10 and no more than $100. And so that's community ownership. And what community members said is that we want to be a part of we see what's happening. We know change is coming. We know gentrification is coming. But what that particular tool does it allows the community to be a part of that and to take advantage of the increases that will happen. And we know it's going to happen. We're 1.6 miles from downtown Dallas. And being that close to downtown Dallas with all that's going on with the convention center and then to the east of us, Fair Park, all the renovation that's about to happen, including on MLK, it's very important that we take what our community members said was, how can we be a part of this growth? How can we be a part of this change as well? And so community feedback has been really important. Those community meetings, are very important to us.
I love that example that you shared about the community investment trust, and your work towards creating that was in direct response to, it sounds like, residents saying, hey, we know change is coming, but we want to be a part of it, and we think we can do that through co-ownership. And I think I can't think of a better example of you embracing that feedback and running with it. I'm just curious. I mean, I think that for anyone, feedback is an opportunity, but it can also be very uncomfortable at the same time. Um, are there moments where St. Philip's is living in the tension of getting feedback that's hard to hear, but still having to use it in a productive way?
Oh, of course. So when I first started at St. Philip's, one of the things I did not realize was that there are some within the community, and I'll say the zip code, not on our side, that think, oh, St. Philip's is trying to own everything. St. Philip's is trying to
Mhm.
in some sort, and that's not the case. And so hearing that, what it helped me do is to ensure that I communicate clearly and communicate effectively. And one of the things that I love about Dr. Flowers, who heads St. Philip's, is that, he keeps his head down and he continues to work. And all he does is tell the story. If you just simply listen to the story, you'll understand what we're doing and you'll understand that our motivation is by faith. Our motivation isn't to profit. Our motivation isn't, to do anything that would damage or harm the community. It's only to uplift and restore the community. And so for those who don't understand in those spaces, I've been privileged to go to other community meetings and to be able to share and then to win over those, who just didn't understand. But, for us, it just lets us know that we need to continue to communicate and to continue to communicate clearly and effectively.
That's great. Thank you for being so candid about that. Um, and obviously, you've covered a lot of ground with spearheading just the multiple community development endeavors that St. Philip's has taken on. What are some indicators that you look for that lets you know that St. Philip's is making an impact or moving in the right direction as far as community development goes?
Mhm. Wow, when others catch the vision, when they
Mm.
catch it, they see it and they believe it. Because this community has been so divested, it's hard to get people to believe in something, but to say that you're going to do something and then for people to see it and they see that you've executed on it, I think it's that. It really is that. And so, you know, the work of community development, is hard. It's slow when it's a nonprofit. But when people see that the work is actually manifesting into something, I think that's a great thing. And so because of that, St. Philip's now has what I call social credit, a lot of social credit in the community because the
Mhm.
thing that we say we'll do.
Mhm.
From the you said an indicator, safety. I'll talk about public safety. We were fortunate enough to win a public safety grant by CFT and the Communities Foundation, and we have used that to install Ring doorbells in our community. And so when you hear community members talk about, oh, I saw what was going on, I saw the comments, what was going on another block, or I did this because I saw that, that's great. When community members come to the community meetings and the Dallas police comes and give the statistics. They'll give the statistics of the wide area, and we'll ask them to narrow it down. And so for them to hear that what they said mattered, meaning police responded to their call or to their aggregate call, because they'll say continue to contact 311, continue to contact us. And so to build that trust inside a community with another public entity, and to continue to build the trust in what we do and the trust among each others, that's an intangible type of indicator, but it very much is an indicator.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I can't agree more. It's when the vision of one becomes a vision of many. I think that that's a wonderful indicator to look to when there's a sense of a shared vision. So yeah, thank you for touching on that. And switching gears a little bit, but it's definitely, I feel like, a thread that you've kind of interwoven throughout your comments is this issue of public policy. And nothing happens in a vacuum. If you do this kind of work, you're looking at it in terms of systems. Not just the local community, but the stakeholders that are involved, and sometimes public policy and how that can inhibit or accelerate the work that's happening on the ground. And I'm just wondering, to what extent is public policy part of St. Philip's community development efforts? And if it is, are there certain local policies that you're tracking or hoping get implemented sometime down the road?
Yes. So from a policy perspective and, just lending our voice, of course, we have to remain nonpartisan. We have to, remain as the nonprofits, not get into the political world per se, but as it relates to policy, being able to lend voice to whether it's, I love this coalition, Dallas Housing Coalition, and I love what they push and promote. So it's really helpful when you have great partners to lean into this work when it comes to affordable housing. It's great when you can have a connection with the Federal Reserve Bank, with the FDIC, and lend voice to policies that would affect banks, that banks can now implement to affect our community members. So giving them the street version of, hey, this is what's happening, and this is what we need you to do. And then continue to say, this is what's happening, and this is what we need you to do. So being that advocate and agent for change is a part of our tenets in community development. We say that it's a triple A experience. We are the anchor, we are an advocate, and we're an agent for change. And so partnership has been really important. A lot of Many times, being that I'm an elected official, many people don't know that you really can have a partnership with your city. Your city really does want to hear from you. And so we've been fortunate enough to knock on many doors and for our community members in the city to hear us. One of those, so I'm gonna say policy, but now I'm gonna kind of do implementation. So there are things that we know are supposed to happen in a community, but there are things that we see in our quadrant of this world called the Forest District in South House that the city in the past could have done better. But to have a relationship to the point where you can talk to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor can bring every department inside of the community and have a community meeting on the ground, on the soil, to implement the thing that they're all supposed to do, but to do it in a better way. Greater collaborations amongst the various departments within the city. And so with that, we've been able to see great change as it relates to the other side of MOK. So we like to take care of this side of MOK. Cornerstone handles the other side of MOK in terms of their care for the community. But when you have policy, and then policy has to be implemented, but then to see, to be a part of trying to make it more cohesive and help everybody understand, like, this is where we are, this is what we need, and this is how we need you to do it. And then for them to do it, there's nothing better than that. And I think the power of one, if I can't say anything else to a community member, your voice matters. Your voice matters. Your voice matters. And so St. Philip's has that community, that social credit is what I like to say. And having that social credit, helps us as we go to the city and say, hey, this is what we see. And then for them to listen, Yeah, it's nothing better than that.
I love that. Thank you. And as we round out our conversation, I wanted to ask you one last question. Um, and you can take it in whatever direction you would like. But what is your greatest hope for the community that St. Philip serves, of which is what I love hearing, sunny South Dallas.
So I am Dallas born and raised. This is sunny South Dallas. And sunny South Dallas was known for all the liquor related stores. If you said I'm going across the bridge, that meant you're going to sunny South Dallas. South Dallas has been my family's home since inception. And so working for St. Philip's in this capacity has been amazing. And what warmed my heart and what won me over to St. Philip's in the community development work that it had been doing and is continuing to do was this. When Dr. Flowers said, I want to see God smile. When he looked down on this community, I want to see God smile. And that said a lot because, coming from the Christian faith, we know that it takes everyone. No one's excluded. So you have your rich, you have your poor, you have your black, you have your white, you have justice. Scripture talks about righteousness and justice is the foundation of God's throne. And so to see that inside of a community, meaning we have a community that has lighting, we have a community that has roads that are repaired, we have a community that has a $300,000 house and a $50,000 house, and the taxes are not affected. The $300,000 house is not affecting the $50,000 house taxes. You have firemen, you have teachers who live in the community, you have janitors, you have shift workers living in the community, and you can go and eat something you want to eat, and it doesn't have to be fried chicken. It can be something unique. I had one resident tell me, I like to be bougie sometimes. I don't just like fried chicken. And so the misnomer of when you see a black or brown community and that's all you want to eat, no, you want to see variety. So to bring variety in our community and to see our businesses thrive economically, to see our students thrive educationally, and to continue to see the community love on each other.
I can't think of a more powerful note to end on. Nicole, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure everyone who's tuned in today has as well, especially just the great lengths you've gone to sharing your new unique perspectives of revitalization at the intersection of school and community. Thank you so much, and we wish you and St. Philip's much success throughout the remainder of 2024.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the work you're doing as well. Thank you to Charles Schwab. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we sign off today, make sure you follow Dallas Housing Coalition on all its socials for updates and how you can get involved in the work of the coalition, as well as stay connected to future episodes of our Housing for All webinar series. While you're at it, make sure you go to the coalition's website at dallashousingcoalition.com to learn more about our member organizations such as St. Philip's. And you can also become a formal member if you're not already at the website. Thank you again to all of our viewers for tuning in to another episode of Housing for All, where we discuss whether Dallas is big and if it is truly big enough for everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.